Welcome. Welcome, everyone. It's Angelo Robles. I am here live for those that are listening to this live. It is a Friday afternoon at 2 p.m. Eastern, to be exact. And wow, do I have what I believe to be a game changer today. And I've been working with it and using it all week. So this is the game changer, Google's Gemini 3. I think within the family office world, I'm the first person with hands on AI experience really covering this and then try to bring aspects of it, which I think are game changing, into the family office world. Many of you know I've been so immersed in AI for a long time now. So for me, hopefully coming from a level of credibility and background with a lot of the LLMs, vibe coding, AI agents, I'm telling you, this day was coming and we are here. So without further ado, and then as I wrap up in about 22 minutes, I'll share some insights that will help us wrap up the year and some ideas in terms of looking forward. So by my standards, this will be a relatively concise live video, and I hope you enjoy it. By the end of when I'm done, assuming you take any actions, it really is going to be game changing. And on that note, without further ado, I really think we're here. The game changer is going to be Google's Gemini 3, until, of course, the next game changer comes along. We talk a lot about black swan events in the family office community. We talk about hedging downside risk, capturing asymmetric upside. But what happened this week with the release of Google's Gemini 3 isn't just another tech headline. It isn't just a bump in the NASDAQ. It's a signal that the history of human labor and human capital, honestly, it just turned a page. If you've been listening this week, I think it came out yesterday, to the podcast Moonshots, Peter Diamandis, Salam Ismail, and crew, like, you have somewhat of an idea of this. But I want to cut through the noise and tell you what this can specifically mean for family offices, your portfolio, and for many of you, entrepreneurs as well, but the entrepreneurs that you back. So for the past, and ChatGPT is, well, right about 3 years old now, I think next week. So technically, not even 3 years old yet. Don't you get this is amazing? We lived in an era of kind of the chatbot, though. We asked a question, AI gave us an answer. It was reactive, it was a tool. But with Gemini 3, we entered more integrated into really more, and it's deeper than just this, but really doing things, the agent. The difference between a tool and an agent is maybe the difference between a hammer and a carpenter. A hammer sits on the table until you pick it up. To some degree, you have to know how to wield it. A carpenter looks at the blueprints, realizes you're out of wood, drives to the supply store, negotiates a price, we hope, comes back and builds the frame. All while you were sleeping. Gemini 3, my friends, is that carpenter. It's going to, or at least be the building blocks to rebuild the global economy. So this is the end of technical barriers. Formally, it's known as anti-gravity. Let me explain. Let's dig into the specific capabilities. The most disruptive feature in this new Gemini 3 release is something that Google calls anti-gravity. For decades, there was a wall between an idea and execution. The wall was a pretty big one. It was called code. If you had a brilliant idea for a platform, a service, an app, you needed to hire an engineering team. You or they needed to speak Python, C++. You needed capital as well to bridge the gap between what you thought and product. Gemini 3 has dissolved that wall. With anti-gravity, coding is kind of dead. Or rather, coding is just now speaking, as I'm speaking here. You describe the software that you want, kind of like vibe coding, and the system builds it, it debugs it, it deploys it. For the family office community, this changes kind of your venture thesis overnight. We used to judge startups based on their technical moat. Do they have good engineers? Can they build it? The moat is gone, my friends, gone. The technical execution is really kind of now the commodity. The new moat, it's vision, it's data, it's distribution. We're going to see an explosion of innovation, I think, that rivals like the internet boom of the late 90s. But it won't be led by computer scientists. It will be led by subject matter experts, doctors, architects, family office thought leaders, supply chain veterans who can finally build their own solutions with not needing an outside thinker or CTO. I mentioned to many of you with vibe coding, I created an app. It's currently up on the App Store. Oh, I'm not saying it's so good. It ain't bad, but I did it with zero engineering help. And I'm 60 and I'm not naturally tech savvy. What I call the rise of the zero employee unicorn. We knew this day was coming. And man, if we're not through the door, we're banging on it and it's going to fall, going to break out. So let's take this a step further. This is where it gets radical. I want to talk about a concept that now is somewhat iconic. Alex Wang brought up actually on Moonshots. It's called the vending bench. Now, it sounds small, but it's profound. Listen, they tested Gemini 3 by giving it control of a simulated vending machine business. They gave it a bank account, an email address, and a goal. Pretty simple one. Make a profit. The AI didn't just answer the questions. It checked inventory. It emailed suppliers. It negotiated prices. It managed the P&L. It paid bills. It acted, well, as the CEO, the CFO, the supply chain manager, and it ran a profit. We are inches away from AI creating its own companies. There'll be no longer a need one day, sadly, I could argue, for human entrepreneurs. Subject for maybe a different time. But think about the implication for your operating businesses. We are moving forward to autonomous enterprises. In the family office world, I could sometimes, like we used headcount as our biggest line item, right? We are used to organizational bloat. Gemini 3 and even others using other AI agentic capabilities means we are about to see the rise of, and maybe sadly, the zero employee unicorn. It's coming. $1 billion valuation company run by one human founder and 10,000 AI agents. Agents that don't sleep. They're 24/7, 168 hours a week. They don't quit. That align perfectly with the mission. If you're backing entrepreneurs today, you may need to ask them, why are you hiring humans for this specific workflow? If they don't have a good answer, they're building a legacy company, not a future company. Now we're going to get very important here. Is Gemini 3 just Gemini 2.5, but with more training data? Hold on. The answer is no. This isn't a parameter scale up. It's an architectural paradigm shift. Here is the technical breakdown of the jump really from 2.5 to 3 and why it's currently eating the competition's lunch. And I do love me Chat 5, GPT-5, of course. Oh, everyone knows I love Anthropic, what they're doing in Sonnet 4.5. But let's go back a little bit to Gemini 3 and what's going to make it unique. The shift from probabilistic reasoning to really more reasoning inference. Gemini 5, like Chat GPT before it, was a next token predictor, the probabilities. It guessed your next word. Gemini 3 introduces what Google calls deep think mode, kind of at the the kernel levels. It's utilizing inference time compute. It doesn't just spit out an answer, it spawns multiple chains of thought. A little scary, I know. Critiques them against internal logic gates and selects the optimal path for generating a single token of output. Sorry, I had to get a little technical there. But this is why it's crushing the humanities last exam benchmark. It's not hallucinating even facts, it's verifying logic. So we'll talk about a second. Native multimodal physics. Previous models saw images by converting them into text descriptions kind of behind the scenes. You never knew it. Gemini 3 is natively multimodal with really a physics engine understanding. If you show the past, Gemini 2.5, a picture of whatever various stacks of blocks, it can tell you, well, there are blocks. Gemini 3 can tell you which way they will fall. It's spatial reasoning. And this is why Jeff Bezos is betting billions on what Project Prometheus. Gemini 3 understands the physical constraints of the real world, not just the semantic constraints simply of language. Third, and I hinted at it earlier, kind of the anti-gravity layer. And this could be a competition killer. OpenAI and Anthropic, I like them too. Still, and if you're not using multiple of the programs, understanding their nuances, you are so far behind. But I'm simplifying for you now. Those two are relying on text-based code generation. You get a block of Python, you copy paste it, and you pray it runs. Gemini 3's anti-gravity feature doesn't just generate code, it generates runtime environments. It creates kind of generative, what's known as UI. When you ask for a tool to analyze your portfolio, it doesn't write a script. It renders a fully interactive graphical dashboard in real time. It compiles the app, which is really what it's doing on the fly. It has moved from code copilot to really, it's like an instant software factory. And heads up, everyone, this is the worst it's ever going to be. What, the 21st of November, 2025. So finally, the Long Horizon Agency. This is the vending benchmark breakthrough. Gemini 5, 2.5 had kind of the context window. It would eventually forget the beginning of a conversation or get confused by complex instructions. I was not the biggest advocate of Gemini 2.5. Gemini 3 has persistent state management. It can hold a goal like optimize this supply chain and execute thousands of substeps over days without losing that thread. It remembers the negotiation it had with the supplier on Tuesday and uses it to update the pricing model on Friday. I can't emphasize how huge this is. So the verdict, the competition, which I still like for certain uses as well, Claude, even Llama, GPT, Perplexity, like they're building better chatbots. They're building better writers, but Gemini 3, Google has built kind of like a real digital employee. Technically, we moved from, getting a little technical, retrieval augmented generation, known as RAG, to action augmented reasoning. This is the delta. And that is why the moat, well, for now, just got a lot wider. So what's a family office advantage? How do we as investors, as family offices, benefit from this? There's many, but in keeping this video relatively concise, operational efficiency, many of you run complex structures, trust, tax entities, philanthropic arms, multi-generational governance. That's a paperwork nightmare. I know. Gemini three's deep think mode allows it to reason, legitimately reason, through complex legal and financial documents. Kind of imagine an AI agent that lives on your private server. It reviews every K1. It cross references every tax exposure. It monitors your liquidity in real time. It drafts the minutes for your board meetings. Like, do you guys understand the power of this? Even pre this, it could do that with some integration of agents. Now it's just getting easier. We are moving from a reactive management to really more predictive governance. This creates a level of stability and oversight that we never had before. Second, investment thesis. If software creation costs go to zero or near zero, like where does the value flow? Think about this, including for your investments as well. Well, it really is going to flow to the physical world. As I noted, Bezos launched Project Prometheus, kind of a massive bet on physical AI. Engineering, manufacturing, aerospace. Why? Because AI can write code instantly, but it still takes time to bend steel. It takes energy to move atoms. As investors, we may need to pivot our capital towards energy, compute, and robotics. The digital world is just absolutely going to be abundant and cheap. You're going to be creating your own apps. What's going to happen to a lot of SaaS? Well, we'll save that one for the near future. But the physical world, commodities, land, energy, infrastructure, that's where the bottleneck kind of is. Therefore, it's going to be where the profit will be. The societal dividend, maybe being a little generous, could be abundance. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, that what Angelo's saying that sounds a little scary. If AI replaces coders, the middle managers and administrators, what happens to society? Of course, I don't know. And Lord knows I could be a negative Nelly. But I'm going to borrow a thought from I mentioned the podcast Moonshots with Salim Ismail as one of the four main characters. We get fixated on the income side of the equation. Then jobs get lost, sure. But we forget the expense side. Cost dropped. If Gemini 3 can design a house, manage the supply chain, optimize construction, or optimize the construction robot, those days are coming, the cost of housing drops radically. If an AI agent can diagnose a disease better than a general practitioner, and it could, and costs pennies to run, the cost of healthcare collapses. If AI can optimize vertical farming, the cost of food plummets. We are looking, well, that's going to be a future relative to energy cost and labor cost conversation about capitalism of the future. But it leads to kind of demonetization. For families watching this who are focused on impact investing, this might be the holy grail. This is how we solve the United Nations Sustainable Developmental Goals, not by throwing money at the problem, but by throwing intelligence at the problem. We have the opportunity to fund the companies that potentially can deliver this quote unquote abundance. We can back the startups that use Gemini 3 and the future of what's to come in 3 months or 6 months to bring first world education to a developing world for free. We can back the biotech firms using agentic AI to cure rare diseases that were previously too expensive to research. Now, kind of a call to action. Do any of you remember the character, the Red Queen? I want to leave you with somewhat of a final thought. There's a concept in evolutionary biology called a Red Queen effect. It actually comes, if you didn't already know, from Alice in Wonderland, of course. The Red Queen says to Alice, "Now, here you see. It takes all of you, all the running you can do to keep in the same place. Technology is moving at an exponential pace. Gemini 3 is not the finish line. It's the starting gun of the next race. And OpenAI, XAI, Anthropic, they're not sleeping. They are going to respond. This competition is wonderful. For a family office, the most dangerous thing you can do right now, which 99% of you will do, is sit on the sidelines and wait for the dust to settle. I'm going to tell you that dust is never going to settle. This is the new normal. You need to be experimenting and understanding LLMs and AI agents today. You need to be challenging your portfolio companies to integrate agentic workflows. What hell? Your own family office needs to start with themselves first. You need to be looking at your children and grandchildren and preparing them for a world where their value isn't what they know, but in the questions they ask and the systems they learn how to orchestrate. We are going to be the architects of our future, or so we hope. We have the capital, we have the network, and now with tools like Gemini 3, we have some ultimate leverage. Let's use it wisely. Let's build and hope for abundance mutually together. Now, there are a couple of things that I do want to a little broadly talk about. And for some of the live audience, I see hello there, you as well. Thank you, thank you. I mean, someone's got to cover this in Gemini 3 in the family office world. Many of you know my extreme activities in the world of AI. I put my money where my mouth is as both an allocator and, even more importantly than that, someone who uses it every day, helps to orchestrate my structures, my challenges, and the things that I do. I'm building apps. I'm using AI agents. I'm a family office person ingratiated in this community for decades, who's actively not just thinking, not just using it to get information, it's doing things for me. So I teach, as many of you know, an AI masterclass. I did 3 of them this year. They got better all the time because even only 2 months apart, so much has changed. Imagine now with this Gemini 3, the last one I taught November 4th and 5th with 2 other incredible instructors. Like, this would be kind of a game changer. And some of the things we spoke about, that it really only predicts the next word, well, Gemini 3 kind of changed that. I'm talking about prompting and getting responses back. Inevitably, it has to go from chat to doing things. And that's the point of vibe coding without knowing how to code. Look at me and AI agents. And this just got easier and better. The words that I've been saying for a while, you could do more, honestly, with less, better and faster. It is never going to be worse than it is right now. Again, this all started not even quite 3 years ago with ChatGPT, and it got so much better. Exponential growth, doubling every 6 months. Well, energy and some other things are going to play into that. That could compound to 64x at the end of 3 years. The IQ of this, what it's going to do, and some parts of it societal wise, job loss, political issues, US versus China. I have spoken about this, a lot more to come. And some of it, again, it's a crystal ball. We don't know, and it is a little scary. There's no putting that genie back in the bottle. It's over with. And I talk about family offices here in Gemini 3. Many of you are not even at the national anthem, let alone a baseball term in the first inning. You just barely understand, yeah, we're side investing in AI through VC, and we occasionally go on whatever, probably the old Chat GPT-4. You don't understand where Perplexity is so valuable. Why Anthropic, until earlier this week with Gemini, was probably the king. Where Grok or XAI's stuff is awesome, and their heavy version, it's beautiful. But how this is a game changer. And people in my masterclass, they get all this. They even get follow-up. They get connections to the right people. You have to understand how to prompt, which program to use, how to have them battle each other. Got a lot of work to do there, my friends. So talking about understanding this in your investments in your portfolio companies, you're not even doing it yourselves. 99%, probably 99.9%. Imagine the edge that you would have. And I've been telling you this for months, and only a small percentage of you pay my fees to want to be a part of the masterclass. But let an edge you got. You just have to take some, not even all, some of the actions that we talk about. And again, my instructors they're the best in the world. And many of them are family principals, generational executives that happen to have a background in tech, but understand family offices and money. One of them is an allocator to like 200 private companies. You don't think he understands direct deals and family offices and is living through it? Yet also happens to be a tech wizard. I mean, come on, like wake up. The industry is lulling you to sleep. All these old organizations that you're going to, hearing recycled crap, often wrong information, if nothing else, wickedly outdated, and just spoon feeding it to you like you're a baby. Like I get the fire hose out. And in those 2 days of my masterclass, wow, it's an experience. And even leading up to it in post, we don't just drop the ball. And especially if you're a member of my SFO continuity, I got your back the full 12 months of the year. We want you to be awesome. I want you to be better than me at really everything, including AI. And again, I'm a 60-year-old man who's not native in technology. And here I am creating apps that I got on the App Store. Imagine what you could do in the family office. We're right at the cusp where a lot of these expensive technologies that you use, where you're also exposing your information to these companies, you're going to be able to take control. So I have spoken about that many of you are bleeding your IP through these more public-facing platforms, although sometimes they're very, very valuable, like a Gemini 3. But techniques you could also do were to keep something sovereign, internal, never bleed IP, keep it yourself, it never touches the cloud. Proprietary data that you have, that's some of your secret sauce as a family office. There's so much out there. And AI agents, and now Gemini 3, making it so easy, goes from just chatting to actually doing. And with what's happening now in robotics, we are at that time in history. I don't know if 5 years ago, 3 years ago, like I would have said this. I don't know if I'm incredibly excited or afraid. Maybe both. As a family office, you have a chance to make an impact. You have a chance to be part of this. And if you're an executive in such a unique industry as the family office or broadly in finance, please don't let ego, ignorance, and fear of this get in your way. It doesn't care about your emotions like that. It's going to bulldoze you over. If not today or tomorrow, a year, 2 years, it's not going to be good for you. But there's answers out there, and I'm one of them relative to my membership in my masterclasses. So again, I don't know if anyone's out there in my world doing a little bit of a brief Gemini 3 overview. And again, I would have ranked it number 3 or 4 pre-Gemini 3, Anthropic Sonnet 4.5, ChatGPT 5. In some cases, even Grok and Perplexity I preferred. Now, there are some things on writing where Anthropic and encoding probably still has an edge, but Gemini 3 is it now. I mean, I pay and I juggle and I work with all these programs. I make them battle each other. I look to get the best answer. The fact that this thing now is kind of predictive in a different way in terms of a deep think way than just assuming what the next word is going to be, like this is a huge breakthrough. Huge. And it's never going to get worse than this very second. 3 is going to get better every second, every day. The competitors are going to rise up. They're going to figure some things out. And we're not even talking about China. Whether they steal or innovate, they're going to be in there too. We are in interesting times. So as we're heading to the end of the year, we're heading to a major holiday for my US brethren, Thanksgiving next week, and then heading a little bit into the holiday season. Always great to see some snow, great time of year, family. This is the time. I gave you a chance November 4th and 5th at the masterclass. Only what, 8 of you took it out of 11,000 plus in the family office community. And the number of people that work in the community and around it in finance, probably a million plus. I offered free ebooks, which are now a little bit outdated. I have to update, even though I updated it already. And like 40 out of like 50,000 on my list took advantage of it. Hey, I'm doing great. I'm lucky to have a good portfolio. I have incredible members. I'm a fighter. I want to have more. And I know that I provide value. Like, I'm here to help. I don't care about being likable. I care about that my content and my thought leadership is hyper unique in a very bland industry. Stop buying Big Blue. It's safe and it's letting you down. It got blown out of the water, except for some things they're doing in quantum, a long, long time ago. Think about that to correlate to the family office and investing world. So yes, you should go to angelorobles.com. You should become a member. And I'm going to get to the masterclass now. I did my last one for the year where I structure it in New York. I bring a dream team and me. We do some promotions. You pay and want to be a part of it. And I change your world. Of course, I'm going to do 2 or 3 more in 2026. Yeah, they'll need to be updated because so much is always changing. I do not have dates for that yet, but here's what you should be asking or thinking. Angelo, I don't got time. You're right. So I still have AI Family Office up on my website. And the way that I would do it now until the next formal group class is I bring me and my dream team. Some of them may need to be digital, but me and my dream team to you. We'd love to go to who knows where? Thailand, Vienna, Colombia, LA, Palm Beach. Where are you? Where do you want to meet? Where could you be immersed for 2 or 3 days? In private, where you're not with other families. And we have a chance to pre-plan around your family office more to make the information knowledge more targeted for you. So it's a private masterclass. Bring it on. It's up on my website. Yes, that would be more money than the money I was charging in a group, but you get what you pay for and you get extreme exclusivity and customization dedicated to you. So what is it worth? Whether a single or a multifamily office, whether someone in the industry, I don't know. That's up for you to think about. But you know how to reach me at angelorobles.com. And again, I still have some of the core content up on AI Family Office, up on my angelorobles.com. So what else is up? I'm working feverishly on my Creating a Top 1% Family Office. It's primarily focused on my bread and butter, single family offices, but absolutely it applies to the multifamily office. I could change your world too. And people that service that community or successful entrepreneurs that want to create. So either creating or really remodeling into a top 1% family office. So of course it includes a fair amount on AI, but I don't know, as simply on a slide perspective, it's probably broaching on 500 about now. I'm going to have to put a program together for that, both an in-person masterclass. My members will get the full handbook and a probably 6 to 8 hour condensed digital variation where I kind of teach with some fellow instructors. That masterclass should be out by first quarter. My sovereign risk and disaster preparedness, way more than just Bitcoin and getting multiple passports, by the way, really, really deep. And it comes out of consulting that I've done for one of the richest people on earth. And that was years ago when things got way more intriguing and the world is way more in turmoil now. These are exciting times, my friends. And yes, they are a little scary. And I'm afraid some of you are just stuck in a world that we, including me, may wish was still around, but it's not. Skeptics effectively missed everything the last 500 years. There's so much to think and talk about in the family office world. And you don't need to have 10 billion. You don't need to have a huge staff. Huh. Spartans beat armies much bigger than them. And in today's world, with the resources of 168 hours a week and the right AI and AI agents, supplemented with some of the best talent that, of course, you're going to have on Earth, you could do a lot. But if you don't, if you wait and you don't get the mindset, you don't get the experience, and you think you could jump in when the dust settles, you will lose. It may not be this year, may not be next, maybe 3, 5, or 7 years. You will lose. This is your chance. I'm the one in the family office world who's talking it and doing it and living it and teaching it. I got programs. Is it up on my website yet? Yes, I'm going to have more dedicated to it, but my week-long March 23rd to 27th program in Palm Beach, the things we're talking about here, and that's going to be 4 months from now. Imagine how amazing in person and with your peers and thought leaders that whole week is going to be. And I'll be working with Uncorrelated in their Uncorrelated Miami, having a full day dedicated to Family Office Day that I'm in charge of, including the agenda. I already got it effectively wrapped up. That's Miami, Ritz-Carlton, January 26th. Reach out to me for further information. I'll begin in my events tab probably in a week or two to have something up on there, but you're going to get promotions from both me and on the company's called Uncorrelated on that. So I look forward to teaming up with them. I have various breakfasts and lunches in New York and Florida. I'm going to Florida the week after next, mainly Palm Beach. There's a lot going on, my friends, a lot. This is not the time for you to say, it's the holiday season, let me just relax and wrap things up. No, no, no. This is the time for you to take control of an ever-changing world, to begin to understand, to take actions, to develop the mindset and the connections to move forward now. And especially like, boom, that first day after the first of the year, you are ready. So what are you waiting for? Jump in and be a part of my private intelligence strategy and membership community. It's officially called SFO Continuity. Does that really matter? The name doesn't matter. It's my private group. We got well over 50 incredible families. One day I'll cap it, probably about 100. And I'm a little finicky. I want the right people to be a part of it. And I want it to be global, not just a US organization. Probably about 20% of my dues paying member relationships are international. So again, Angelo at angelorobles.com, email Angelo at angelorobles.com, website angelorobles.com. You all know how to reach me. I look forward to hopefully doing a little more content between now and the US holiday, Thanksgiving. I've been reading a lot about from Machiavelli in his great book, The Prince. I'm correlating stories that could relate to the family office world within that, making some little adaptations again to my Creating a Top 1% family office upcoming handbook and masterclass. And now with this Gemini 3, I got more work to do in terms of even updating the private, let alone more group forward in 2026 AI family office masterclasses. You all know how to reach out to me. There's a lot going on from New York to Miami to Palm Beach. I gave you a little bit of insight. Some of it's already up on my homepage and on my events tab, other more content-centric things to follow. The AI family office is still up there as more of a private offering. So again, I hope you enjoyed. Primarily what was an update on Gemini 3. It shocked me. It was such a big, I might have been a little disappointed in the Chat GPT bump up to 5, although I came to like it as it got better a couple of weeks in. But this is ridiculous. This Gemini 3. Now, you kind of have to know somewhat what you're doing. That's where being a member in the masterclass would absolutely help. But you could kind of figure parts of it out. This is it, everyone. While your peers and competitors are going to take the pedal off the metal, complain about paperwork and workflows to wrap up the year, this is your chance to be incredible. as a family, as an executive in a family office, or someone who serves the community. So it's your choice. Take your foot off the pedal, relax, be the fat cat, all is fine. Or no, this is your chance to seize the day. Carpe diem. This is it. And in today's world, between now and the end of the year, yeah, I could kind of make you incredible. So you know what to do by now. Thank you, everyone. Some new content, probably once or twice, including that Machiavelli in the family office spin. I do like a little history and philosophy, so I hope you enjoy that. That should be upcoming pre-Thanksgiving, maybe even tomorrow if I'm kind of feeling it. Maybe I'll put on the cowboy hat and go outside. We'll see. We'll figure that out. Either way, I appreciate all of you. Thank you for the comments. Appreciate it. Thank you. A pleasure to cover Gemini 3 and look forward to our future conversations. Thank you.